The wind rolled low over the dry plains of Dustwater, where the sky met the earth in a long, silent stare, and even the sun seemed reluctant to linger too long. Sheriff Elias Boone, once the fiercest gunslinger west of the Pecos, now wore grief heavier than iron on his hip. It had been 3 years since his wife died. Since then, Elias stopped singing, stopped smiling. Folks said he still carried her old locket tucked into his coat. Others whispered he talked to her at night, out by the old windmill. Whether true or not, one thing was certain: Elias Boone was done with love. Far off, in the town of Red Hollow, Clara Bell scrubbed the orphanage floors with raw hands and a heart full of locked-up melodies. She was 17 when she arrived there, just a girl with a voice too pretty for her own good, and no family to guard it. By 19, the head mistress had made it plain: marry, or leave. The town was rough, and the choices for a girl like Clara were few and dangerous. But fate, or maybe something quieter and stronger, had other plans. Clara heard tell of a sheriff out in Dustwater, widowed, no kin, no warmth, and no wife. She found a wanted poster of him once, years old and some, showing a younger Elias Boone, eyes sharp as a hawk's, jaw set like a mountain. Looks like a man who don't ask many questions, she muttered. That night, she folded a letter, walked it to the mail station, and addressed it simply: Sheriff Elias Boone, Dustwater, Texas. It read, I need a husband. I won't ask for love, just a name and a roof. I can cook, clean, and won't be a burden. I sing a little, but I'll keep quiet if you prefer. If you say no, I understand. Clara Bell. He stared at the letter for a long while before tossing it in the fire. Then, something made him pull it out before it burned clean. He read it again, sighed, and spat into the dirt. 2 weeks later, Clara stepped off the train in Dustwater, dress patched and plain, a small sack of belongings slung over one shoulder. Elias stood on the platform, tall, silent, hat low. You Clara? He asked, voice like dry gravel. I am. You still want to marry me? I do. He nodded. All right then, let's get to it. The justice of the peace married them that same evening in a church that hadn't seen a wedding in 7 years. No kiss, no crowd, just two strangers binding themselves together like hands tied before a storm. Clara kept her word. She cleaned, cooked, never pried. Elias kept his. He gave her a roof and didn't ask her past. They lived in the same house but on different sides of silence. But at night, when she thought he'd gone to bed, Clara sang softly, like the wind sang to the prairie, lonely but still alive. One evening, a dust storm blew through, fierce and sudden. Power went out, windows rattled. Elias poured himself a glass of whiskey and stood at the kitchen window, watching the sky turn blood red. And that's when he heard it. A song, hers, clear and low, aching and sweet. It wound through the old house like perfume, Shenandoah, sung slow and gentle, each note tugging at something buried deep inside him. He didn't speak, just stood there in the dark, letting her voice reach him. Days passed. She kept singing, sometimes hymns, sometimes songs from the hills of Tennessee, and every time Elias sat closer, first in the kitchen, then just outside her door, then finally in the parlor, saying nothing. One night, he broke the silence. That song, where'd you learn it? My mama sang it before the fever took her. You sing like her. I don't know. I only remember the way it felt. Feels like coming home, he said. The days softened. Elias took her riding, taught her how to shoot. Clara brought wildflowers into the house. She stitched new curtains. And once, she laughed and it didn't feel out of place. Then one evening, word came. The Delgado gang had hit a stagecoach near Gallows Bend. Rumor was they were headed for Dustwater. Elias strapped on his gun belt. For the first time in 2 years. I'll be back by morning, he said. She stopped him at the door. If you don't come back, I want you to know something. What's that? That I didn't just marry you to escape the orphanage. Maybe that's why I came, but it's not why I stayed. He looked at her, eyes searching. Then he touched her cheek for the first time. I'll come back, he said. Gunfire echoed in the canyon that night. Elias, flanked by 2 deputies, held the line against the Delgados under a silver-slivered moon. It was fast, brutal, and bloody. Come dawn, Clara stood on the porch, eyes squinting toward the hills. Then she saw him, dusty, bloodied, but walking, alive. Elias didn't say a word. He just walked up, took her hand, and said, sing to me. And she did. On the porch of that old house, with the wind carrying her voice across the plains, Clara sang while Elias sat beside her, head bowed, tears drying on sun-leathered cheeks. He thought love was buried with his wife, but Clara Bell, with a voice soft as a prayer and strong as Texas dust, unearthed it. He married a stranger. She sang him home.